to be able to offer advice to our leaders, but to stay out of mainstream politics, and to do so in such a way that she became, a very maternal figure for the nation. People, at least I couldn't imagine this day would come, and I think collectively that's why the shock is so great. And so, I think that ability to be able to step back and to be that figurehead, to be the person that people look to in good times and bad, really is the reason that she is so adored and loved the world over, friend or foe.
Thank you so much for your time and for your memories. I think it's fair to say that we now go into 10 days of mourning, which start here on Friday, and we will see crowds like this streaming into Buckingham Palace or around Buckingham Palace, but also the other royal residences. And what has been lovely tonight is that listening to strangers come together. Yes, they're mourning, but they're also sharing their experiences, talking about the time they met the Queen or when they saw the Queen on television. And actually, just 3 young children said to me a moment ago, tonight they're going to bed thinking about the Queen's great-grandchildren and how they'll be feeling knowing that they no longer have a great-grandma.
Well, if you're just tuning our way, let me give you the timeline of events. This is what happened this Thursday afternoon. Buckingham Palace first issued a statement saying the Queen's doctors were concerned about her health and they recommended that she remained under medical supervision. But it wasn't much after that we heard the news that all the Queen's children were either already with her at Balmoral Castle in Scotland or they were travelling to be with her. Within the past couple of hours, Buckingham Palace has released a statement to say that Queen Elizabeth II has died.
It certainly is, yes. People all over the world are mourning, certainly in the UK, but across the Commonwealth and across the world.
Now, King Charles III is the title by which he'll be known. It wasn't a guarantee that he would choose the Monarch of Charles, but that's the way it is. And it is remarkable, I think, in the British way of doing things, that continuity is assured. The moment one monarch dies, the heir to the throne takes over.
Yes, very much so. It is continuity, it is tradition, but it also is marked with great sadness to be promoted to this position, to be the head of state. On the one hand, should be celebratory, but it comes with great sadness. It comes with the loss of Charles's mother. It comes with the loss of the longest reigning British monarch. It comes with the loss of a stabilizing force and icon.
Now, President Biden has ordered that all official government buildings, state and federal, I think, should fly flags at half-staff tomorrow. That is an extraordinarily generous gesture for the leader of another nation. Do you think most Americans will agree with it?
I think that she is a figurehead and a rock for people all over the world. And what she has done and how long she reigned far surpasses any of the presidents we've had. She has met with 14 of the U.S. presidents, and she has been a stabilizing force generation after generation. And it's remarkable to think of the fact that she also was alive for over a third of the length that the U.S. has even been a country. For the most part, all of us who are alive on Earth remember her as being alive at the same time as us, or our parents remember, our grandparents, our children, and so on. And so I don't think it's overstepping to want to fly the flags halfway tomorrow.
Kristen Menzer, thank you so much for joining us on this evening. Let me tell you some of the words of King Charles III. Now, a video statement, we believe, will only be coming at some point tomorrow now, during Friday, but he has released this particular statement. The death of my beloved mother, he writes, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world. He writes also, during this period of mourning and change, my family and I will be comforted and sustained by our knowledge of the respect and deep affection in which the Queen was so widely held. Well, Lape Orolone is with me in the studio here in London. What does it mean to you, Lape? How do you feel today?
Well, I certainly feel a sense of loss, just like everybody else. I mean, I have grown up in this country, and the Queen has always been a part of not just my private and familial life, but also my public life as well. We've always known the Queen to be someone that's always there. As we've said over and over again today, the Queen has been an almost invisible grandmother in every home across Britain. And seeing her go, for me personally, is very heartbreaking. And also, I think the main thing for me, and I speak for many families in the United Kingdom, is the fact that that sense of duty, that encouragement that the Queen always gave during very turbulent times. I mean, during the pandemic, people were encouraged by her Christmas address because they felt as though she was also a part of that struggle. She actually happened to have contracted COVID. So again, her coming out to encourage people and to join in that kind of struggle always made people feel like she was a part of us. And she has done that consistently throughout her reign. And for me, that makes her more relatable. The fact that she can reach out and speak to us as if, she can see what we're going through as well. And I think for, me originally being from Africa, Nigeria to be precise, and being a part of the Commonwealth, the Queen has always been a very important figure in many of the kind of people that come from the African community. When you go to parts of Nigeria, for example, there are many streets named after her. There's a whole area called Victoria Island that was, referenced in the royal family. Prince Charles, King Charles now, has also been there. So there is a huge, heavy presence of the Queen in parts of where I originally come from, but especially here as well. So for me, it's quite painful to see her go.
We should report, of course, that there is the case that there are people throughout the Commonwealth, the United Kingdom, Australia particularly. There's a movement in Canada who thinks it's time for change. And actually, you shouldn't have this hereditary system and have a family become the ultimate ruler of any country. But I think, would you agree with me that she was even aware of that change over time and managed what an extraordinary changed world? I mean, here we are on our smartphones. There were no electronics of that sort when she came to the throne.
I think in somebody's speech they described her as, being somebody that's present through a changing world. And I think that really constantly changing world. That really does embody. I mean, there was a really interesting and very endearing clip of her on Zoom and speaking to Princess Anne and trying to see how to use it and how to navigate it. And those are the kind of things that make the Queen a timeless figure. I mean, it's ironic now that, her death is a realization to us that nobody's timeless, but her everlasting presence over the years has made everybody feel that way. But in answer to your question, I think she was very much aware, because there were uprisings, if you like, in places like the Caribbean and Jamaica and Barbados and so on. So I think the Queen was very much aware, but the way in which the royal family, with her at the helm, carried themselves throughout those uprisings and, of course, tragedies in their personal lives as well, showed that the Queen was an open queen, a modern queen, a queen that was willing to change. We saw that again when Princess Diana died and she was kind of condemned for the way she reacted. She was willing to come out and change her approach. We saw that in Aberfan. And, a lot of the historic moments, iconic moments in the Queen's life showed that she was a head of the royal family that was willing to change, that was willing to accept change and see it right from the beginning, having the TV presence at the coronation, to being able to respond to criticism. For somebody that shouldn't really batter an eyelid to what, people think or say or judge, she was somebody that was open to that. And we have seen that transcend throughout the royal family. And we can see that amongst the young royals who are becoming more open and less remote to the wider British public.
Well, thank you very much indeed for the moment. I'm sure we will talk again.